What's going on, guys? Aaron here from Epic Weddings, and today I'm going to show you guys the good and the bad of Canon's brand new cinematic beast, the EOS C70. The Canon EOS C70 is a wedding filmmaker's dream. It's a built-in ND 4K 120 16 stops of dynamic range powerhouse. This camera has become my favorite filmmaking tool of all time. The C70 has a super 35mm APS-C dual gain output sensor, the same sensor found in the much more expensive C300 Mark III. What this camera does is it splits the incoming signal into two parts, a high amplification signal prioritizing saturation in the highlights, and a low amp signal that prioritizes noise in the shadows. These two paths are then combined into a single 16-bit HDR file that possesses up to 16 stops of dynamic range and very low noise levels. What does that mean to you? Well, in situations such as an extremely backlit ceremony, you no longer have to prioritize exposing for your couple while losing all that background data. It also means very low noise levels in low light situations. In my test, you can comfortably shoot up to ISO 12,800. The camera is built around the RF mount used by the EOS R family of mirrorless cameras, enabling it to make use of the fantastic lenses such as the RF 20 to 70 f2. You can also get the Canon Speed Booster, which effectively turns the C70 into a full-frame camera and gives your existing EF lenses an additional stop of light. The C70 possesses the same dual-pixel autofocus as the sports-oriented 1DX Mark III. It delivers excellent autofocus performance. It also has Canon's signature head tracking ability that means the camera still prioritizes the head even if the face and eyes aren't visible, such as when subjects turn away or have their features obscured by masks, goggles, or flowers. While it doesn't pick up the face as quick as my Canon R6, in practice it works very well, and I haven't found any serious issues with the autofocus performance at all. The camera is equipped with 18 buttons, 13 of which are fully customizable. They feel great in the hand and are well placed for a very intuitive shooting experience. Now, if you are coming from a traditional mirrorless or DSLR body, the C70 takes a little while to get used to. It is heavier and might feel awkward in your hands at first, but it isn't overly heavy like previous cinema cameras such as the C200 and can be operated using my one-hand gimbal, the Moza Air 2. Now, once you get used to having everything at your fingertips, like built-in ND filters, the C70 quickly becomes your go-to camera in your bag. All right, guys, let's talk slow motion. The slow motion on the Canon C70 looks amazing. It shoots up to 4K 120 and 2K up to 180 frames a second. Now, one thing to keep in mind, while the slow motion does look really good, you do take a hit on dynamic range. The dual output sensor no longer works at frame rates above 120. One of the most important elements during any wedding is audio, and the C70 is awesome in this department. It has an audio interface built directly into the body. It has one 3.5mm mic jack and two mini XLR ports, allowing you to record up to 4 tracks simultaneously. Now, at a recent wedding, this totally saved us. While the bride and groom were walking down the aisle, the officiant started talking really loud, clipping the mics. All we had to do was go into post, import the 4 tracks, pick the one that was the correct volume that wasn't clipped, totally saved us, and it sounded great. So, is the Canon C70 the right camera for you? Well, when compared to something like the Sony a7S III coming in at $3,500, the $6,000 price tag might seem steep. But keep in mind, with the C70, there are no additional items needed to go out and shoot. Whereas with the less expensive camera, you will still need to purchase things like ND filters, audio interfaces, etc. In my opinion, if you are only looking to increase your production quality and you mainly deliver content through platforms like YouTube or Instagram, the C70 might be overkill, and something like the Canon R6, Sony a7 III, or Nikon Z6 II might be less expensive options, all of which are fantastic and can shoot up to 4K 60. Now, if you are looking to increase your video quality, go after a higher-end wedding film clientele and do corporate and commercial work where a 10-bit 422 workflow is required, then I think it's hard to beat the Canon C70 right now. All right, guys, thank you for joining us here at Epic Weddings today. If you liked that video, hit like. If you loved it, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.